Hello, my name is Reverend Dr. May Elise Cannon. Today is Saturday, the 9th of August, 2025. Today is day 673 since October 7th of 2023. A daily update of news from the Middle East. I'm currently in Amman, Jordan. In the last 24 hours, there are reports that at least 38 people were killed in the Gaza Strip. The health ministry reported that as a result of Israeli airstrikes, those numbers came from hospitals in the past 24 hours. According to a statement, 21 of the 38 people killed were killed near humanitarian distribution sites. There were 11 additional causes of death due to malnutrition and starvation. A lot of the conversation here in the Middle East has to do with the recent cabinet meeting that was held by Netanyahu and the Israeli cabinet. The hostage families have called to shut down the Israeli economy in protest to the cabinet's decision to take over Gaza City in coming weeks. Anat Angraset, whose son Matan is still held captive in the Gaza Strip, she addressed the Israeli public and business leaders, saying, "The fight is not only ours, the hostages' families. Will you join us? I call you to halt everything, shut it all down. It was decided to expand the war and to occupy, even at the cost of Matan's life. The silence is deadly." Mother of hostage soldier Nimrod Cohen, Vicky Cohen, issued a similar appeal. The security cabinet decided to, in full awareness, give up on my son Nimrod and all of the hostages. There's only one way to stop this. Stop everything. Why isn't the economy shut down? The silence is killing them. Will you join me in my call? Israeli news also published a significant readout of the Israeli Security Cabinet. I'm going to go into it. It's a little bit of detail, but I think it's very helpful. It talks about how sources who were present within the discussion of the Security Cabinet on Friday talked about how Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar of Israel and the member of the Knesset, Deri, he's a confidant to Benjamin Netanyahu and the Shas party chair. He's not eligible to vote on the Security Council cabinet decision. But they both voiced their support in exhausting the option for negotiations and talks over a hostage deal instead of the proposed military operation for a Gaza City takeover. Sources within the security cabinet said that the Mossad director Barnea also called on the ministers taking part to carry on with active discussions with Hamas to work towards a ceasefire agreement or work towards an end of the war, to try to reach a deal that would secure the release of hostages held in Gaza. According to other sources, the IDF chief of staff, this is Lieutenant General Zamir, sharply criticized Netanyahu's proposal to take over Gaza City. He said the IDF will need 3 months to prepare for the move and that 200,000 reservist soldiers will have to be recruited to carry out the stages of the political directive in full. Reservists, he said, who have been worn out from recent months of fighting in the Gaza Strip. This is the longest war in Israel's history, and many have said that the military can't keep up the long-term, it's not long-term sustainable because of the limitations of the population. The source said ministers were enraged by these statements. Finance Minister Smotrich, Netanyahu himself, who claimed the schedule he presented was excessive and dragged out. During the discussion, the source said that the IDF chief of staff wondered who would control the territories to be taken over by the IDF and warned that in the areas to which the population of Gaza City would be evacuated, where would they be evacuated? He said, this is a quote, "There's no proper humanitarian front and no active hospitals that could provide a proper response to the population's needs." That's the head chief of staff of the IDF saying that. The chief of staff, Zamir, did nonetheless say that the IDF is fully mobilized and preparing to expand operations in Gaza after this green light from the security cabinet. Now, 300 Israeli architects and planners have signed a petition that's called Stop the Destruction, Yes to the Rebuilding of Gaza. We express deep shock at the acts of destruction, killing, starvation, and mass deportation from cities and civilian areas in the Gaza Strip, they said. We cannot forget Hamas's horrific crimes on October 7th, acts of massacre, destruction, and the abduction of civilians from border communities. But these atrocities do not justify indiscriminate harming of civilians, women and children, or the near total destruction of the Gaza Strip. These are Israelis who are saying this. They're saying the same thing that we're saying. We're standing alongside of them. We want the hostages to be returned home, and we want the people of the Gaza Strip to be able to live. The petition states that over 280,000 units have been destroyed, as well as 2,300 educational institutions, dozens of hospitals and clinics, hundreds of mosques and churches, markets, shops, factories, infrastructure, and farmland. That's the update of Israel and Gaza. Continued concerns about crackdowns in Iran have been reported. Over recent months, 20 alleged spies for the Israeli Mossad have been executed or arrested. The judiciary said this Saturday that they warned they will face no leniency and will be made an example of. On Wednesday, Iran, I talked about this, executed a nuclear scientist who was convicted of spying for Israel and passing on information to another nuclear scientist who was killed in Israeli airstrikes. In terms of international responses, the UN Security Council is going to hold an emergency meeting sometime today on the seas of Gaza City. Foreign ministers of 5 countries have condemned the Israeli plan to seize Gaza City. This is Australia, Germany, Italy, New Zealand, and the UK. They strongly condemned the Security Cabinet's decision on Friday. Progressive Jewish groups have condemned Israel's military plan for Gaza. And Turkey has said that Muslim countries must be united against this Gaza takeover plan in order to work to mobilize the international community against Israel's taking over of the Gaza City. Turkish Foreign Minister Fidan said today, after he had conversations with Egypt, after a meeting with President al-Sisi of Egypt, Fidan also said that the Organization of Islamic Cooperation has been called into an emergency meeting. There have been also much attention paid to sanctions moving forward within some European countries. There's an article about how Berlin's Gaza arms embargo can block Israeli firms in Germany from selling weapons to Israel. There was a decision on Friday by Germany, who has a tendency speak out very boldly against Israel, in large part because of their own history. They voted to restrict arms exports to Israel, and that could significantly impact Israel's military's most important weapon systems, forcing Israel and suppliers to devise workarounds for production that was coming from Germany. The move could also stop Israeli arms manufacturers that operate in Germany, including Israeli state-owned companies, from selling weapons to Israel. Chancellor Merz's statement on Germany will not approve exports of military equipment that could be used in fighting in the Gaza Strip, leaves Berlin with some room to maneuver. Hundreds are expected to protest in London against a ban of a group called Palestine Action that was just deemed a terrorist group by the UK government. 500 people are expected to risk arrest in defiance of this ban. The Metropolitan Police said it has drawn officers from other forces to help form a significant policing presence. The ban means that membership of or support of Palestine Action is a criminal offense that could be punishable up to 14 years in prison under the Terrorism Act of 2000. The protest comes after the first 3 people were charged with supporting the group in England and Wales, and they were named. Also in the UK, a Together for Palestine event is happening. Top UK artists are going to perform in support of Palestinian organizations. Musician Brian Eno, the organizer for Together for Palestine, announced the list of artists who are performing in Wembley in London on September 17th. According to the list released on Friday, they'll be performing UK musicians. I won't go through their names. The arena seats over 12,000 people. This is one of the largest fundraising events for Gaza to take place in the music industry since the start of the war in Gaza. In the US, Vice President Vance said that there are urgent talks underway to expand aid to Gaza and to counter Hamas, but he acknowledged that there are disagreements about how to manifest those goals. And I just wanted to close with an announcement that the dates for the May 2026 Christ at the Checkpoint conference have been announced. This is in Bethlehem, in Palestine. Mark your calendars. May 26th to 30th, 2026. May 26th to 30th, 2026, the Bethlehem Institute of Peace and Justice at Bethlehem Bible College is thrilled to announce the 8th Christ at the Checkpoint Conference. The theme this year is Kingdom Ethics in the Face of War and Genocide. Join us for a powerful week of reflection, justice seeking, and peacemaking rooted in the life and teaching of Jesus. May God go before us towards peace in our collective efforts. In the name of Christ, amen.